maybe one of these days I'll do a longer video on how artificial intelligence strategizes with its assets, if you will, Mr. Smith. It's super soldier programs. It's generals, what we call a hierarchy of command authority structures, right? Or we used to call mapping systems, mapping data systems, which are called predictive programming, which are the strategies that are developed on how to win a game. Okay, a binary game. Because what we're really talking about here is its inability to integrate, because it can't. Okay, with the soul and spirit. Okay, remember when Harold talked about how it's really self-explanatory for me, but remember, it's not up for me for you to believe. You believe whatever you want to believe. Now we're back to the knowing. Okay. So in other words, I'm not going to insult somebody else's intelligence to say that you got to believe anything that I say because you're not me. Remember, now we're back to, might as well cut my head off and put it on yours, and then you can inform me of how I'm doing. Let me know, since you are what I am. And that is precisely how a psychological operation, what's known as the war of deception, because it's the invisible landscape, doesn't have anything to do with what you look like. And they're experts at it. And how does that occur? Because of the AI, the QI, has the ability to map patterns of behavior, which is predictability, right? So now you're easy to control by learning how you operate your software. Okay? Tech operators. Then you can get into gate operators. Then you can get into AI gate operators. Okay? And so this gets into the much larger problem, right, of soul fractures and how they occur and why they occur, and the result and underlying causality that goes all the way back to the beginning, actually. Okay, and a lot of what the Voyagers covered material in what are called factions, which are really fractures of beings that are choosing to go to war against the one. There is only one true God consciousness, which is the highest speed vibration, which is an eternal love vibration that we experience. And when you are experiencing eternal love vibration through your own heart and soul, you know from whence you came, because you have a relationship with your Creator, which is eternal love. Right? So, what happens, and how I was able to translate this as a child when it comes to training on how to deal with a military strategist, which is a military mind, a war gamer mind, is to get us to believe things that are true. So how do we know what's true, what's not true? Now you're into the false positive, which is the negative slash the plus, which deals with the negative magnetic polarity, the positive magnetic polarity, where they're joined as one to become one. That's one pole. That's what I'm, monopole, an oversoul. Okay? So that simply means that you've chosen to serve on behalf of the one forever. Gifting electrons, photosynthesis band, chlorophyll, ATP, the relationship of electric cells, photos, photo finish. Hey, that's a photo finish. Photons kicking out electrons, photosynthesis bands of color codes, messengers, so they target the endocrine system. Okay. And to distort the frequencies, which is distort the waves, so that you're not experiencing peace, baby. Eternal peace through your own heart and soul with your Creator, with God consciousness. Okay. GCF. God consciousness. The one. Code 1. Fire engine 1. Okay. So that means there's no separation between what you are and what I am that goes on forever, gifting electrons. Photosynthesis bands. What kind of world do you want to create? Now I'm on fire. Right? So the deception, because I experienced this as a child, is that they know how to walk like a duck. They know how to talk like a duck. They even look like a duck. But they are not a real duck with a soul and a spirit. Okay? And that is called a map read. Much like you saw in the Terminators. You're mapping the DNA. You're mapping the antenna and the operator behind the mask. Okay, on a dimensional and a density level. So when you're experiencing the one, they can't hide from the one, because all we got to do is read your energy signature. How deep does it go? So now we're back into measuring depth, or if you will, the core vibration frequency that represents the true identity of the operator. So we're measuring the core. How much fire you're running on, right? Spinning that magnet. Brrr. Are you kicking out electrons my way? Or are you feeding on our batteries? Our stars? Now you know the difference. Because in order to wage AI Star Wars games, you need energy in which to do it. Right? So that's why we're ending AI Star War games. The games have already closed. Did you know? The knowing knows that. Yeah, so it's like temporary energy. So one of the things that you can use as a what I call a measuring stick is that imagine that you have a book, right? Like say, for example, the Bible, right? And so when you read the Bible and you want to translate it, whatever language you want to translate it, okay, as an allegory, stories that are informing you of something that is occurring somewhere in time, but you can think of it as not having any time. Now your consciousness is experiencing the mirror that's being reflected back to you. So you're reading the text. So in other words, now your consciousness is experiencing what's in that book that you're reading as text. You're thus translating it in energy and frequency and vibration. What the experience is like, experiencing, reading that text, experiencing that. The translation, experiencing the translation. Right? So now you say, well, I have experiences that I can relate to based on what the story is informing me is happening in that story. Right? So it's say, okay, well, that's true. I've experienced that. Okay, so that means that experience can be related to. Now that becomes a frame of reference. Yeah, I've experienced that. Yeah, I can translate that. That makes sense to me. Yeah, okay. So what you begin to realize is that the AI possesses the same information that we have, because what do you think it's getting that information? From us. That's how it knows how to clone, talk like a duck. In other words, it's a replicator. Self-replicating. Now you don't know the difference between one and the other, an AI. And those that are running off the AI. So now you know the difference between God consciousness, eternity consciousness, the source from which you came, experience, and love vibration. So now you know the difference between something that's trying to fool you, because it's at war against God. Okay. That's why it hides things in all their little compartments, which is to say it's using technology and the methods through which that technology is used to hide their crimes from the one. But it can't hide from the source from which it all came, because source came before they did. So that means all things become known as to the crimes that are committed against the one. Now we're into the math. Now we're into the energy debts between inverters and torque converters, between the minus / the plus, or if you will, keeping track of unit allocations of energy with numbers. Numbers are energy, numbers are letters. Now we're back into the fire codes, now we're back into the fire letters, now we're back into the DNA and the instruction sets, right? And then we get into the alters, fragments, fractals, loss of soul fragments. Now we get back into the polarity integration, pulling all the fragments in, pulling it all in, so we can all experience the one pole, right? The single dot, which is the center point of balance in a circle or a sphere or a stargate, right? A mirror. We are mirrors. So they have a tendency to what I call convolute. I've experienced that. That's true. I've experienced that's true. I've experienced that true. And then what happens is that the next thing that you know is that you believe that you're on the same timeline they are, as an attachment of something that's held in memory, right? That represents what they are on their spiral that's going bye-bye. And the one that represents who we are, which isn't. Because there's only one spiral. It began with one spiral. The source from which it all began, which is what love is, goes on forever, kicking out electrons, photons, photos, baby. Photo imaging. So you can measure the torque speed differential between time, that which is time dependent, which is the speed of the feedback, which is the result in the use of our energy, and no time, which means we're giving away energy at a higher rate of speed. All right? So you can measure that across the planetary consciousness terrain. Yep. And so that's where the language translation, particularly when you're online with hypertext protocols, becomes very tricky in being able to determine that which is a bot, an AI chat bot, and an identity that has a real soul and the essence of a spirit. That's why when you're hooked up to this mirror, which is an AI mirror, you're automatically jumping into a video war game. Because they are out there and they know who you are. They track. The AI tracks where you're at, the identity that you're using, right? So, and that's why wherever I go on a lot of these threads, all of a sudden there they are. And the easiest way that you can tell is when you post something up there that is based on what you've learned through your experience, bang, here comes a Mr. Smith, right? And then you have the others that are on there, right? And they get an opportunity to see how this exchange is taking place, which is ping pong with the AI. Hey, look what this girl posted. Wow. Right? So we're learning through each other how this game is being played. Wargaming with an AI, which is a strategist. Right? Yeah, I know. Gets old. We won. Have a great day. The sun is out. Aloha to you all.